Hello, everyone. Testing. Yep, it sounds like the mic works. All right, this is going to be another off the clock episode, sub episode of Flora Frequency. I'm host Ben Gressley. So, as you probably remember, I did a couple of these off the clock episodes a few weeks ago, a little less than a month ago, ahead of my interview episode with the Manatee on the show. And while this is not ahead of another major interview episode right now, the reason I'm doing another off the clock today has to do with the fact that UC is on spring break this week, and as a result, there will not be an episode of Flora Frequency airing this week. So me and quite frankly, I think most of the other Bearcast hosts are on spring break and just enjoying their time off this week. So most of us, I think, are just not going to be in there airing our shows this week. So I'm, and myself is included. So myself included, I meant. So therefore, I there were still some updates that I wanted to share for this week, and some big music scene updates that just popped up all of a sudden that I feel I'd rather share now instead of waiting a little more than a week till I'm back in the studio. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this off the clock with you today on this Monday, March 16th, 2026 at 5:11 p.m. just to kind of give you a few updates as we head into spring break here, and yeah, and then we'll be back on the air next week. So first off, once again, there's not going to be an episode of Flora Frequency airing on Bearcast this week because once again, we're on spring break, we're off school, we're not going to be in the studio airing our shows this week. So, or at least I'm not, and I once again I assume a lot of the other hosts are probably doing the same as well. But I'm not going to be in the studio this week, so there's not going to be an episode airing on Bearcast Radio this week. So the next episode will be on the next regular air date, which will be next Wednesday, March 25th at 3 p.m. Same time, same place as always. So basically, in lieu of the traditional episode this week, I am going to be giving all of my usual reports right here, starting with the weather, because my God, we are looking at literally all four seasons in 1 week here in Cincinnati. So it was really, really warm yesterday, because we were actually in the mid to upper 70s for our daytime highs yesterday, and except save for it being really, really windy, and the first high wind warning I had seen issued here by the NWS since the remnants of Hurricane Helene came through back in September of 2024, at least the first time I can remember that type of warning being issued. It was a really, really nice day, and I got to get outside for a little bit and enjoy the weather. So yeah, but we did get some pretty powerful thunderstorms moving through the area late last night. It was triggering a bunch of tornado warnings further west, like in parts of the Midwest and down into the kind of the lower plains. And those tornado watches did actually come to the westernmost counties in our DMA here in Cincinnati. But fortunately, by the time the concerning weather got here, it only triggered a severe thunderstorm watch instead of a tornado watch, which I mean is not good, but it's kind of an improvement over a tornado watch, I think. So fortunately, we just had a lot of rain, some winds, but we didn't. I mean, I didn't lose power last night, and I'm not seeing a ton of damage in the area either. So fortunately, I think it just kind of came through, did its thing, and left. But it was part of a very potent cold front that caused the temperatures to plummet. We literally dropped about 30 degrees just over the course of last night, to where as of now, we are looking at scattered snow showers in the area, although these are mostly just flurries that are floating in the air. Nothing is expected to stick or accumulate, especially on roads and paved surfaces, because it's just too warm. So we're not going to be dealing with any accumulating snow or issues on the roads, or at least we shouldn't. But we're currently just hovering at above freezing, but we've got a wind chill because it is still pretty breezy today, despite the fact that the main wind advisory has expired. And it's feeling like it's in the low 20s outside. So it is literally, it feels like we flipped the calendar back 2 months to this time in January is how it feels outside right now. So basically, the temperatures are only going to continue to drop heading into tonight, and tomorrow it looks like we're not even going to be getting out of the 20s tomorrow. So once again, tomorrow the date is March 17th, but it's literally going to feel like January 17th. I mean, we are, weather-wise, it feels like we're turning the calendar back by 2 months. But fortunately, though, that's not going to last for long, because while it's still going to be pretty chilly on Wednesday, we are going to be seeing our temperatures start to improve later in the day, Wednesday, and by the evening we'll be back up in the 40s, and then we'll be back in the 50s by Thursday, and by the end of this spring break week, we will be back in the 60s and 70s. So fortunately, this is going to be a very short-lived return to winter with this week's weather. And I know it sucks, but we'll get through it. So that's how the weather is going to look like for spring break week here in Cincinnati, at least. But obviously, if you're traveling anywhere for spring break, depending on where you're going, the weather's probably going to be a lot different where you are. So obviously, I'd be here forever if I rattled off every major city's week-long forecast on this recording here today. So I'm not going to do that for the sake of time. I've got a lot of other stuff that I need to cover as well. So we're going to head right into that right now. So horticulture and environmental scene, we do have a couple things to report there. So the water sampling season for Mill Creek Alliance has started as of this past Saturday. That will be taking place every second Saturday of the month. And the Society of Environmental Engineers, or C at UC, has collaborated with them to do water sampling volunteer days. So if any of you are interested in doing that, come to a C meeting and reach out to the students there who are running this volunteer work, and they'll get you hooked up with it. I was going to try to go to the one this past Saturday, but unfortunately I was feeling a little out of sorts that morning, so I ended up not going. But I'll definitely try to get to some of the later events that they'll be doing this year, and the season will run all the way through November, so there's still plenty of opportunity to get involved. So there's still plenty of opportunities to get involved with this. Also, the Bearcat Pantry Garden, located at the UC Supply Facility on Fishwick Drive in Bond Hill. This is located right off I-75. You just take the exit for Town Street, make a right onto Town, another right onto Fishwick, and you'll go right there and just drive around the building, and you will see the garden in the back. They are having a planting event along with the construction of a bioreactor. So I think this is going to be a really neat event. I plan to attend. It will be the morning of April 3rd, rain or shine, so make sure you dress appropriately depending on the weather. And yeah, I think it'll be a good time to kind of get the garden started to help grow produce for the on-campus food pantry at UC. Then lastly, UC Horticulture Club is, believe it or not, having a general body meeting tomorrow during spring break. This will be in Old Chem, in, I believe, room 585. Let me just pull that up. They sent that out. Or no, it's 560. So room 560 tomorrow from 7 to 8 p.m. in New Old Chem at UC. They will be doing Ikebana, which is a Japanese floral arrangement. They're going to have a workshop to build ikebana. So basically, it is traditional ikebana floral arrangement is a minimalistic and thoughtful practice that will help to find balance and peace during spring break, and that is in the words of the organization's president. So they hope to see you there. I might try to come, but we'll just play it by ear on that, because once again, this is during spring break. I don't know how well their attendance is going to be, because I think a lot of students are not going to be around right now, because they'll be traveling or they'll be home or whatnot. So yeah. So if I go, I go. But if not, I won't. But we'll play it by ear. I haven't made a final decision on that yet. So now on to the music scene updates. So basically, I have a couple things to go over with the music scene, because some big news, some big, rather bittersweet, unfortunate news just dropped back on Saturday, and that's part of the reason why I really wanted to come on and talk about the updates now, because that along with several other things are really pretty big updates regarding the music scene that I wanted to share right now before we started coming up on some big dates here in the coming weeks, and so on and so forth. So first off, we've got 2 shows confirmed for spring break. The first is going to be this Wednesday, March 18th at Murphy's Pub. That will be featuring Juno Harlot, Rachel's Papers, and Topsoil at 9 o'clock. Free entry. Once again, this is at Murphy's Pub on West Clifton Avenue, just down the street from the UC campus. And Cassavet is going to be having a show this weekend on, I believe, Saturday the 21st. Yeah, Saturday, March 21st. And I believe it is at Flora and Flair in Mount Adams, but we're still waiting on some information to be released about that show. So just be paying attention to Cassavet's Instagram for more updates in regard to that. Speaking of Cassavet, their lead singer Sophie Stockton is going to be doing 2 solo shows during the week after spring break, the first of which is going to be taking place at Fuel Lounge downtown in Over the Rhine on March 28th, and that is going to be featuring Cara Rosebrook, another successful solo musician in the local music scene, who is also currently the lead singer of Juno Harlot, and she's also the lead singer of another band called Sock, which is currently on hiatus. And this show is also going to be featuring Tilbon and Philip Diox, and once again, that's going to be on March 28th at Fuel Lounge OTR. Then the second show is going to be at the Comet in Northside on Hamilton Avenue on March 30th, where Sophie will be playing along with Mariana. She is currently dating the Mariana lead, Jack McMullen. So the 2 of them are going to be doing quite a few collabs here in the coming months, including the tour, their East Coast tour. They're going to be traveling this summer to several cities across the eastern United States. And I've already mentioned this previously on the show, but as I mentioned previously, Mariana has been engaging in they have been engaged in some crowdfunding efforts to raise some money to help offset the cost of travel for this tour, as travel is really expensive, and unfortunately, with uncertainty around increasing gas prices at this time, that's all the more reason why they are having to make considerations about how much this tour is going to cost them. Sophie is going to be traveling with them on this tour, and they have already confirmed stops in cities such as Pittsburgh, Chicago, and New York City at various points throughout the summer. And as of now, according to the GoFundMe website that Mariana has launched, it looks like they have already raised $512 of their goal of $700. So and it looks like a lot of people are just chipping in $10 at a time. So every little bit counts. So if you follow Sophie or you follow Mariana or if you follow both and you want to support them, I would definitely recommend you go check that out. So that's that. And then also this next announcement is more specifically for UC students only, because this has to do with an event hosted by the Programs and Activities Council, or PAC, and these events are only open to UC students. So if you're not a current UC student, unfortunately, you will not be admitted to this event. They do check for that upon entry at the door to these events. So it's not like you can just go in on the honor system and say you're a UC student when you're really not, and expect them to let you in. No, they're going to check for that. But basically every school year after spring break, they usually in as we start heading into the last part of the semester, PAC will typically host a major big event of some sort on campus. And historically they would do that in the form of the Red and Black Bash, which was usually a big outdoor concert that they would do on Sigma Commons on the campus grounds. And I remember I went to the one that they did back in 2024 when rapper NLE Choppa came in and did a show. And yeah, that one was kind of interesting because I mean the weather just completely sucked, and it was just raining and sleeting, and it made such a mess that they ultimately had to completely replant the Sigma Commons, and then they had to take considerations when they tried to do the Red and Black Bash again last year in 2025, and they were going to have Bad Sons, an indie alt-rock band from California, come to Cincinnati to UC to perform. But ultimately, because we were experiencing a literal deluge of rain that week, that event had to be canceled, and it was ultimately retooled into UC Underground, which is actually the event that I personally really credit as getting me into the local music scene, because it was there that I first became acquainted with Limelight, and I started following them from there, first to last year's Battle of the Bands, and then I started following them right after the spring semester ended last year, and then that led to me connecting with other bands and other musicians, and then it just grew from there. So really, I kind of have PAC to thank for all the music stuff that I've been involved with as of recent, and for almost a year now. So yeah, and really, it was kind of the one event being canceled and retooled into something else that I ironically have to thank for it, because I kind of tend to look back and it's like, yeah, if the Red and Black Bash had happened in its original capacity with the way that event was, there's a chance that I probably would not have even run into Limelight in the first place, and who knows if I would have been as involved in the local scene as I am nowadays if it wasn't for that. So yeah, so definitely thankful for that experience last year. But this year they're going to be doing things a little differently, and they're going to be hosting a big event on March 30th called Packalooza, and this is going to be a big indoor event in the Great Hall at TUC. And basically, as you know, what's been all the rage right now as we've headed into this new year, into 2026, is everybody wants to kind of throw it back to 2016, 10 years ago, which was quite a memorable time for me, both good and bad. It was when I was a senior in high school and ended my junior year of high school, which is the worst year of K through 12. So for me, at least, and it was definitely an interesting year. So this is going to be a 2016 themed party, and believe me when I say this, I am going to actually get my high school band hoodie out and wear it to Packalooza to fit the theme, because I still have the hoodie. It still fits perfectly. So I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it to Packalooza to fit the theme. But basically, just some information about this event. So, once again, it will be on March 30th, and it will start at 5 p.m. and run till 10 p.m. at the TUC Great Hall. There will be multiple prizes and giveaways throughout the night. Check PAC's Instagram at PACUC for more information about the event itself, along with the giveaways, and when more information regarding the performers at the event will be revealed, because basically there's going to be a DJ who will be playing starting at 6 o'clock, and then there will be 2 local artists that will be playing. The first set will go on at 6:40, and the second set will go on at 7:20. And PAC is typically very secretive about who they're having perform at their events, and they typically like to do it as like a rolling tease style reveal. So as of now, they have not yet revealed who the performers are yet. We're still about a couple weeks out from this event. So in fact, we're exactly 2 weeks out from this event as of today. So in the next couple weeks, they will be posting more information on their Instagram. Once again, that is at PACUC, all lowercase, on who the artists are going to be. However, they did reveal the genres, though. So the local artist 1, which will be the set at 6:40, is going to be indie pop. And then local artist 2, which will be going on at 7:20, is going to be rap and R&B. Then after that, there's going to be a big name opener that will start at 8 p.m. And then the headliner will be the final show of the night. Their set will go on at 9 p.m. The opener is going to be an indie/alt rock genre, and the headliner will be a hyper pop genre. And prizes that they are giving away include vinyls of albums from both recent and 2016, along with Apple AirPods headphones and a PS5. So once again, pay attention to the Instagram at PACUC for more details on that show, as well as for when the artists are revealed. I will definitely be interested to see if any of the bands and musicians that I follow in the local scene end up being any of the sets for this event, because that would be really neat for them if they get to play at one of PAC's events. So anyway, and I mean, once again, it was at a PAC event that I first met Limelight, so it is definitely quite possible that some of the other bands that I'm following as of current may potentially make an appearance at this event. So that'll be interesting. Once again, I plan to go, showing up in my Turpin High School band hoodie from 2016, senior year of high school. Have some interesting memories associated with that one. I used to wear it a lot during the later months of that calendar year, and it had connections to my friends that I had at the time in bands. So I'm definitely kind of excited that I'm going to get to do that at this event. So kind of a nice little nostalgic throwback in a way. Both good and bad, though, because unfortunately there were some rough memories in 2016 as well. But anyway, so that's that. Also, I did forget to mention, speaking of Mariana, they are actually doing a show tonight along with Double Jointed and Craig's Limit at Hybrid Moments, the music venue located underneath Spiral Groove Records on Main Street in downtown Milford. That will be starting at 7 o'clock tonight. Doors open at 6:30, and I believe it is $5. Yeah, it's $5 cover at the door. So unfortunately, I'm not planning to be at that show, but once again, if you're a fan of Mariana, definitely pull up. Then speaking of Limelight, as I mentioned on the show last week, and I think previously as well, Limelight just put out a new single. Their new single, Posies, just dropped back on Friday the 13th. If you listen to it on streaming platforms, It may sound familiar if you've seen them play live, as they have performed the song live before they release a single. So definitely go give it a listen. And as I said I do plan to play that song on the air during the next regular episode on Wednesday the 25th. So not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. Then the last bit of music scene news that I have to share for this first part, or this first segment, is, so as I said I would previously on the show, I did just send an email to the events coordinator for the Anderson Township Historical Society and Urban Farm. This is the organization in Anderson Township, just east of Cincinnati, of the city limits, I meant, that I volunteer with outside of UC. And throughout the year, we typically do have events that feature live music. So I reached out to her, letting her know, hey, I don't think I've had the opportunity to tell you yet, but I've been very active with building connections in the local music scene here in Cincinnati, and I just wanted to let you know that I have these connections, and if you would like to use my help, for lack of a better term, for maybe connecting with some of these local artists for any future events that we do at the Urban Farm or here at the Historical Society, then I'm more than happy to help. Just reach out, and I'd love to have some more conversation about this soon. So I haven't heard back yet, but hopefully when we do get in touch with each other here soon, I'm excited to see what kind of conversation we have and where that goes. So that's the first round of music scene updates that I have for now. But I have some more news about the music scene to share, but I'm going to wait till the end of this recording to share it, because unfortunately it is kind of some bittersweet news that just dropped regarding a beloved local venue. But I've got some other things that I want to cover first, so just hang with me while I get through this, and then I'll cover what's going on there at the end. So next, I would like to share just a few updates about this radio show, Flora Frequency, because since we are in spring break right now, that means once we get back from spring break next week, we're going to be heading into the final few weeks of the spring 2026 semester at UC. So that means we're already kind of looking into how the last batch of episodes of Flora Frequency are going to go for this season, and I'm also already starting to think ahead towards next season and some of the things that I plan to do then, or things that I want to do differently then. So with that being said, let's kind of dig into what I have planned for both the rest of this season and onward. So first off, as of now, there are 6 more episodes planned for Flora Frequency for this current season, for season 2. Unless I find out otherwise, I am currently planning on airing the final episode. So the season 2 finale is currently scheduled to air on April 29th at 3 o'clock Eastern, 3 p.m. Eastern. So that is going to be when I am tentatively scheduled to air the final episode of season 2. So we've got 5 episodes that will be airing before that, and then that season finale will be the 6th episode after this point now. So after that, as of right now, we are not planning on doing any broadcasts or airing during the summer months. So specifically May, June, and July, there will not be any new episodes of Flora Frequency airing on Bearcast Radio during those 3 months. So that might be a good opportunity if you haven't caught up yet on some of my earlier episodes, both from this season and from season 1, that might be a good time to go back and listen to everything before the next season premieres. Speaking of the next season premiere, season 3 is currently scheduled to premiere sometime either in late August or early September. It'll ultimately depend on UC's semester schedule, which I have not quite figured out, like when the semester for when the fall semester this year, I meant for 2026, is going to start. So once I get that figured out, I'll probably have some more information on that soon. But for now I don't. But I'll try to get that out and get that premiere date announced before the end of this current season. So, speaking of the season finale for season 2, I have decided that I am basically going to make that a summer song marathon. And I thought that would only be fitting because by that point, we will be nearing not only the end of the spring semester, but the end of the school year as well. And for a lot of people, summer vacations and all that stuff is going to be coming on to everybody's minds. And therefore, I figured that in light of that, I could, therefore I figured because of that, I could run kind of a marathon of music from artists and genres and popular tracks that kind of remind people of those vibes. So we're talking like the Beach Boys, maybe some Jan and Dean, which are kind of another band that sound like the Beach Boys, or just any songs that evoke summer-like vibes. So I was thinking maybe like Sheryl Crow's "Soak Up the Sun," the Go-Go's "Vacation," "Beach Baby" by First Class. So all of those classic summery songs are what I'm planning to do a marathon of to end season 2, because of the time of year in which that episode is currently scheduled to air. Now, for those of you who really liked listening to my interview with Oh the Manatee back on February 25th, right after they released their EP Catalyze, I have some exciting news to share that you will be happy to know that I am planning on having another band interview on the show before the end of season 2. So planning and some discussions are already underway to start getting this together. It is still in the early planning stages right now, but rest assured we are getting something together, and the next band interview will be airing at some point in April. So I'm not going to be revealing a lot more information here today because I kind of want to do a more formal reveal on the air when I actually get back into the studio. So just stay tuned to Flora Frequency, and I will have more information and a more proper reveal here real soon. But what I can say for now is that we are working on it, and basically it's going to be happening at some point in April. Now, obviously, because some music release dates are still up in the air and whatnot, I do want to let you know here today that there is actually at least a small possibility that I might not be able to have them in until the final episode of season 2 on April 29th. I'm going to try to see if we can have it earlier than that, but if not, if it has to be that final air date, then what I plan to do is I will swap the summer music marathon or the summer songs marathon I meant, with the second to last air date. So I'll air the summer songs marathon on the semifinal air date, and then I'll have the next band interview be the season finale, if that's how it has to play out due to timing. But once again, that's all up in the air right now. I don't have any answers. I don't have anything else to reveal. right now. So just stay tuned to both the show as well as all official communication channels for more information and updates regarding that. So next, if y'all haven't already noticed, you might have known that my most recent episode that I aired this past Wednesday on March 11th is not on YouTube yet as of now. I sincerely apologize for that being the case and for the long delay, but unfortunately, as many of you who have worked with YouTube know, they are very strict about their copyright policies and oftentimes have zero tolerance for even little copyright issues here and there. So, unfortunately, one of the songs that I aired on the show last week, as in Wednesday the 11th, triggered a copyright claim in their filters and their content ID, and I'm going to need to address that late this week. I plan to have that episode uploaded to YouTube before the end of the day next Monday, March 23rd. However, please note that it will have to be a modified episode with the final few minutes cut out because the offending song was at the very end of the episode. So if you did tune in live while it was airing last week, you probably remember what song that was. So unfortunately, that song is not allowed to be played on YouTube due to copyright and licensing restrictions. However, I'm confident that the rest of the episode I can get uploaded intact. So I will have that out before the end of the day next Monday, and especially before the next regularly scheduled episode airs on Wednesday the 25th. Speaking of that, I am also going to be experimenting with some additional radio archiving methods and sharing methods to try and minimize these copyright issues that YouTube has. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do this yet, but I will likely be experimenting with some stuff during the later weeks of this season, followed by a full implementation for season 3 when that premieres late this coming summer. So just a heads up that I will potentially be launching some new sharing platforms and some new recording platforms where you can find my content on, and that will likely be in addition to YouTube, and the two platforms will work as like companions to one another rather than as a replacement. So that's that. So that's all I've got for the radio show news for now. So now the last segment that I'm going to do for this Off the Clock episode is and unfortunately I'm kind of going to have to be the bearer of bad news here from within the music scene, but honestly I would not be doing my job here if I did not talk about this here because part of what I do on the show is I like to not only promote the local music scene but also be the messenger for general news and updates in regard to the local music scene, whether it be good or bad. And unfortunately, this one is kind of a disappointing announcement that I was just made aware of the other day. So for many people who are familiar with the UC area music scene, you probably remember, or you probably are familiar with the house show venue Fishbowl, or Fishbowl Live as its full name is, that was located on Taylor Avenue. Well, just on Saturday, the venue announced that it would be shutting down effective immediately and that all future shows there have been canceled. So with that being said, I would like to take a moment here to read over the official statement that was released by the team behind Fishbowl on Saturday, and this was posted to Instagram. So here is the official statement. We regret to inform you that the venue will be shutting down and we will be canceling all future shows. We have decided our beloved audience has outgrown our venue and has become a disruption to the neighborhood. We are deeply grateful for the community that supports the Fishbowl and want to thank you for the memories. Though we share this news with heavy hearts, we deeply appreciate the support you've shown us. We hope the spirit of the Fishbowl will echo through the streets of Clifton for many years. So, basically, what I have to say to that is, so first off, this news comes as a pretty big shock to not only myself, but to a lot of the UC and Cincinnati area music scene. Because immediately after this news broke, many of the local bands who have performed there and are familiar with the venue have taken to Instagram to express their sadness and disappointment for this news. However, after kind of looking into it a little more, and after I talked about this yesterday with a couple of the friends that I have in the scene who are musicians themselves that have performed at the Fishbowl before, they have basically, from what they're saying, it sounds like this is more of a bittersweet situation, because basically the Fishbowl here seems to have fallen victim of its own success, as they say. Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, and one of the friends that I have in the scene actually told me that she noticed this every time she's been there, and it seems like the scene, while disappointed, is kind of in agreement that this was the right decision to make. Because the thing is every time they have had a show there, it has drawn in record-breaking crowds for a house show. And I mean, this wasn't like some big McMansion type house either. This was just a typical inner city Clifton UC area style house, similar to the other house show venues in the area that don't draw in nearly as many people as this place did. But I mean, the crowd sizes that this place got were massive. I mean, the other house show venues, once again, did not really compete with this. And each show seemed to be bigger than the last that they would have there. And I remember, well, I wasn't at this show because I had a conflicting plan, but the Halloween show that they did the day after Halloween, so technically on the Day of the Dead, drew in the biggest crowd that they had ever had there. The biggest ever. And I remember, even though I couldn't go to the show, I was still following their chatter on Instagram, and they were saying how I think they came close to like 1,000 people just coming in and out of that venue throughout the entire event. And it got so packed that they were having to actually turn people away from coming to the show. They just didn't have the room to put anybody. So the thing is obviously it does kind of make sense. The venue became so popular, as were the events that were held there, that there were just way too many people coming. The venue could no longer sustainably accommodate that in a way that was not going to cause problems for the surrounding community. Because, I mean, it is located in a residential subdivision, and I mean, people were parking all over the streets for it, causing traffic issues there. And then with all those people there, I mean, it's obvious as to how it's just not sustainable to continue to run a venue at that rate. So, as sad and disappointing as this is, it does make sense, and I think the music scene seems to be in agreement with that from what I've heard as well. So I mean, it's just amazing how popular it got, and really I think it is safe to say that it was a major staple for the local music scene, and it really was a key player in making the music scene flourish to the vibrant point that it's at now. And I'm going to address that here in a little bit because I have something planned on how I'm actually going to honor that. But there's a couple things that I want to touch on first. So first off, a little personal backstory with me, and I think I mentioned this on the show previously, but the Fishbowl was actually the first time I ever went to a house show, which was a little less than a year ago now, was at the Fishbowl. And it was the Battle of the Bands last year. So, because basically after I first met Limelight at PAX UC Underground event the week before Battle of the Bands last year, I decided to follow them to that event, and I decided to turn up and support them. And I just remember how nervous I was because it's like I had never gone to an event like that before. But I thought, not only am I supporting this really cool band that I just connected with at UC Underground, but I was also, it also seemed like a really cool social opportunity to make new friends and make new connections. So I pushed through the natural nervousness and anxiety, and I went, and I ended up having a real blast at this show. And that played a huge role in getting me into the music scene as a whole here, or in the UC scene and here in Cincinnati. So definitely I do have a lot of thanks for the venue and the experience that I got there, and just for basically helping to push me into where I am now with my involvement in this vibrant scene and the vibrant social life and all the connections that I've made through it. I mean, I wouldn't trade any of this for the world. So speaking of Battle of the Bands, obviously I know this recent news does kind of raise some questions regarding that event, as UC Music Club, the host organization, was once again planning to have Battle of the Bands this year for 2026 at the Fishbowl, just like they did last year. So with the venue having shuttered abruptly, with all future shows canceled, that obviously does mean that Battle of the Bands has just lost its venue. Now, fortunately, I can report, even though I will admit that I am not on exec for Music Club at this time, so I can't really speak for them, but they did release a post on Instagram, basically kind of like an unofficial statement release, yet still official, in response to Fishbowl's announcement, confirming that they do plan to still have Battle of the Bands this year for 2026, and they are not canceling the event at this time. However, obviously, since Fishbowl is no longer available, they are going to be actively searching for a new venue to relocate the event to for this year. So, as I said before, the event was scheduled to take place on Saturday, April 11th, but it is not known if that date is going to be kept or not, because for all we know, with the new venue and the venue change, they may have to move the date around. So once again, I can't speak on behalf of the Music Club exec because I'm not one of them, but hopefully we'll find a new venue for it soon, and we'll have the information. So make sure to follow UC Music Club on their Instagram at music4, the number 4, not the word for, UC, for all the updates there. And hopefully we will find out more after spring break on what we're going to be doing with that. And when the plans are put together, I would once again strongly recommend that you come and support Girls Rock Cincy, as the proceeds will go to that for a great cause. So it looks like we are confident that event is still going to be happening. However, be paying attention to the Music Club Instagram for updates and information regarding that. So basically, what I'm going to end this segment with is, so as I said previously, the Fishbowl has done a lot for the local music scene. I mean, it hosted the most successful Battle of the Bands to date for UC Music Club. Several of the local bands and artists have had their first public performances there, including Oh the Manatee, when they had their first show there this past September, as well as for some artists, they had their biggest shows yet of their runs or their careers at Fishbowl, which Golf Lamp I know was an example of that, where their biggest show that they had played during the time that they were together was at Fishbowl on that same date in early September. So the venue has done a lot for the local music scene, and they've also done stuff to kind of collaborate the scene and all that, and have gone kind of beyond just having shows. So really, myself as a radio host in the local scene, along with the many bands, musicians, and other artists in the area, cannot be more thankful for everything that they've done. So I feel that it is appropriate in this situation to do something to kind of celebrate and commemorate all that Fishbowl has done, and to cherish the memories that have been made there. So in honor of that, this coming Wednesday, when I'm back on the air on March 25th, I will be putting together a special playlist of music from local artists and bands that have performed at Fishbowl in the past, and especially if I can play some of the songs that they have performed live there previously, along with covers or along with original versions of songs that these artists had covered at Fishbowl. So like, for example, I know Oh the Manatee has, speaking of them, they've covered Wheatus's Teenage Dirtbag, so I can play the original version of that. I know at Battle of the Bands last year, Cut to the Chase covered Chappell Roan's Pink Pony Club, so I might play that as well. So basically, I'm just going to do kind of like a Fishbowl appreciation playlist that I plan to play on the show next Wednesday, March 25th. And other than that, it will be a typical episode. I'll do my usual spiels on the air, as always, but it'll have kind of that special playlist. And what I would like to do, and I'm going to get something out on the Flora Frequency Instagram this week promoting this, but any bands or musicians who have performed at Fishbowl in the past who want to request a specific song for me to play on the air next Wednesday, either one that they've performed at Fishbowl previously that they have since released, or the original version of a song that they had covered there previously at a previous show, I will be taking requests for those songs up until 11:59 p.m. next Monday, March 23rd. That way, the following day, on Tuesday the 24th, I will have some time to compile that playlist and have something ready to go for when we go, or for when I go on the air that afternoon. So you can submit your requests to all of the channels. So you can drop a request in the comments section of this upload here, or you can send me a DM on the Instagram that is at Flora Frequency Cincy, or you can even send me an email to the show's email, which is florafrequency309@gmail.com, and I will try to get that stuff on the air. But once again, though, I do still plan to air Limelight's new single Posies during that episode, so I will still be having that on there. But the rest of the show will consist of the Fishbowl appreciation playlist and any songs that you may request as part of it. So definitely send in those requests. And yeah, I mean, it's strange to know that that it's like I was literally at a show at Fishbowl, the DJ set the night before this news was announced. But I mean, I get it, and obviously we will always be thankful for what they've done, and that's why I plan to celebrate them on the air with this special playlist next Wednesday, March 25th. So that is all I have for the spring break updates. So I hope you all continue to enjoy your spring break. And if you're traveling anywhere, safe travels. And I will be back on the air next Wednesday, March 25th. And I look forward to it. And until then, as always, take care of your mental health, prioritize your self care, and peace.